Hello, Mr. Walker.
HQ, what's going on with you?
Fine, thank you. What about our submission piece here? What do you
Submission. I think it's something you can't force. You
right?
can't force it. It's not something submission,
Mhm.
especially coming from a man, it's not something that you can demand, you have to command it.
Right.
And it's it's always gonna lead me back to my talking point that women should find a man that they are into. So
Mhm.
every time they look at this joker, they smit with him. They got the googly eyes for him. So that submission ain't even a question. She
Right.
don't mind because she recognizes him as her leader. She chose him.
Mhm.
She like him,
Mhm.
and that's the way it will work out. But
You
when there
said
would be
something. You said something in the chat. You said your wife taught you something. What was that?
my wife my wife taught me the power of talking life into one another. Yeah, I grew up around hyenas. Yeah, all my mama and aunties and them, they were raging hyenas.
Raging
And
hyenas. Yeah.
they never said nice things. They never spoke life into anybody. It was always something wild shit, Heck,
Wow.
but get married to my wife and then seeing her family and just how my wife, she talk, all she do is say nice stuff. My wife she never says an ill thing to me.
Mm.
Never nothing negative at all. Like, I don't
Okay.
even know what that would feel like. And I didn't realize how unique I guess that was until I came on YouTube. I said, damn, y'all be getting cussed out by y'all lady. That's crazy as
Yeah,
hell.
they be cussing, they be wilding. Some of them just be, and then they don't even know that they're talking
That's
with the
crazy.
disrespect. With the disrespect, they don't even know that they're saying what they're saying. It's like it's second nature to some, right?
Man.
And it's my nature to withdraw, or it's my nature to be quiet because I
Hmm.
cannot talk to a man in that way. My father was a very commanding presence. My husband was a
Hmm.
very commanding presence. So I never learned to talk to men like
And,
rah rah
and,
rah until I
and you
came on here.
and you see that they
Right.
weren't demanding, they were commanding. They,
Right.
with their presence, how they carried themselves, and
Mhm.
that's what it takes. And but if a woman can't respect the energy that you're bringing, then yeah, most likely,
Mhm.
it's going there's going to be submission issues. Exactly. Now,
Yeah.
before we go any further, I just want to ask the pink pill something. Pink pill,
Mhm.
on a scale from 99 to 100, 100
Mhm.
being the highest, how bad do you want to beat me, huh?
101.
What?
Exactly.
I want to say something. HQ, this is
Mhm.
the kind of content that I've been looking for.
Mhm.
I've never heard my mother say anything positive about a man in my life besides her own brother.
Mm.
And we need like more. I'm not trying to call you old, but women who came before me, like seriously
Mhm.
to be
Mhm.
like an example,
Mhm.
because if we don't have you as a vessel speaking like this about men and like
Mhm.
towards ladies, we're gonna be lost and we're not gonna know what to do. That's why so many modern women are the way they are because they don't have any direction.
Mhm.
So I just
Mhm.
came on here to say that,
Well, thank you. You can have disagreements with men, but you still can be respectful. I challenge anyone to ever see me be disrespectful to a man because I had the highest, utmost respect for men. And men need to be respected in that way. They're the dominant people on this planet, dominant species on this planet. I just want to be a female on this planet. That's all.
Can I add to that too?
Yeah.
Like outside of my relationship, and I'm not saying I go out in the world flirting, but just
Mhm.
showing up in the world like feminine. Like every
Mhm.
time I go out, I keep my hair done, I keep something nice
Mhm.
on, and I'm
Mhm.
polite to people, and
Mhm.
I get all kind of free stuff. People are nice to me. Like women don't understand the power of
Right.
femininity and
Right.
submission. Like, and that doesn't make you a slave, but it's just like be a lady, damn, you know?
Right. Be a
And
lady. That's it.
hey, Pink Pill, this is cute. Hey, actually, that's kind of interesting. That actually happens to men too. How much free stuff. You imagine how much free stuff I get just because I try to have a pleasant disposition, and
Mhm.
people give me
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
It's
Just imagine if you walked into store. I see this example all the time.
Yeah,
Men
I'll
are
give
not, women are not friendly when you walk into a store or you want something. Just imagine how it would be if for a day the women who are the raging hyenas became very feminine and decided they were going to be nice to every person that they came across.
Yeah.
Look how the world would change. Look how much step and pep would be in men's demeanor if a woman he didn't even know
Amen.
would be nice and not hyena-ish. That's why when I go out, I'm respectful. Whenever I run into any kind of man, I run into him. I defer to him. You know, I stand back when he's walking. He opens the door. I say, "Thank you, sir," regardless of his age, whether he's 14 or he's 50. I say, "Thank you, sir," and walk on by, because he doesn't have to do those things. Would you like this or would you like that? I'm always greeted by that. The power of the female suggestion of femininity goes a long way out in this world, and women just don't. A lot of women don't understand that. A pleasant demeanor, a smile goes a long doggone way.
Now, HQ, I want to ask you this. Now, have you ever gotten free stuff for being nice?
When I was younger, when I was prettier.
Okay. Now wait. So, but not as of lately. So shoot, because I ain't never
Well,
got no.
I really
stuff.
wouldn't
I ain't never
accept
got.
it now,
I ain't never got no free stuff. I think it's a bit of colorism there, because Brother Q and Pink Pill, they of the lighter persuasion,
I
and
am
we
a
dark,
black
and
girl.
we darky.
Like,
HQ, we darky.
That's
We don't.
the recap. I'm not light skinned.
Me either. I just have good lighting when I come on. That's all.
She just
Us
has-
darkies, us darkies don't get free stuff.
Yes, we don't
But
get
it's
free
true.
stuff.
But
Y'all
I
hit
think
the
that's
like button
something-
when you come in. Please hit the like button when you
Yeah.
come in. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh no, it's not a matter of being. I don't think it's dark skin. I think it's.
I'm bulljack. I'm just messing around. I'm messing around. But it's true. Like nice. If you're out nice in public, and it's the saying that people that look good just get better treatment, and it just is what it is. You know, like
A lot of
you
respect.
are more
I give
inclined.
respect, though.
Yeah, it's weird. Like even just on like a low level, shallow position, like people that look good, you're gonna give them more the time of day. It just is what it is. Like people don't want to acknowledge that superficial bull crap, but it is. Like you turn around and you see a pretty and attractive man or woman compared to something busted and ugly. You don't mind insulting somebody that's ugly. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I ain't saying it's okay, but
Q, what did you say? What were you
Yeah,
saying?
so I wanted to say something about the submission talk that you guys were speaking on.
Yes.
And so I was thinking yesterday, do you guys think that submission is harder for women these days because they don't have to rely on men as much? For two reasons. One, for resources, and two, for protection that they don't know they actually need. So, because if you think about it, back in the day when we as human beings warred a lot, women needed men to constantly fight. So I think they can look towards them for protection, you know, and they can revere them and praise them and so forth. And since we don't have to fight like that as much, or they don't see it because we fight on distant shores the last 100 or so years, I don't think they respect men as much. And that's my humble opinion. And number two, the resource aspect. I think people, even if a woman got with a man who wasn't really that handsome, but she was around him enough to start to respect him for what he was providing for her, I think she could submit at that point. But I think we created a system where there are a majority. Well, I don't know. I don't know what percentage to give it, but there is a portion of women who have gained a sense of entitlement because the government has given them everything they needed. And so now they don't have to work with the man to provide for their survival needs. And so now the only thing they have left is to focus on media. And media has influenced them to look for only a certain type of man. And so they pour their efforts into getting that type of man, even till giving them sex to get their attention. Because if you have a pretty woman versus a not so pretty woman, and they both want to get his attention, the pretty woman going to get it anyway because she looks good. The other one, she said, well, I can't really keep him unless I give him myself, not knowing that we all know that sex is not the best way to keep them. It's not going to work. Now, if you
Right.
get them, you need to give them sex once you get them, but that in and of itself is not going to keep them.
Right.
I know I rambled on a little bit, but my 2 points was resources and protection. Do women view men as respectful in those 2 realms anymore?
Pink pill.
HQ, and this is not a slight, but I think this whole issue goes back like not to your generation, but to maybe your mom's generation. That was the generation that was just so hell bent on being independent. That's when the welfare government assistance started coming in or whatever. That's when women got real independent. And I think they just passed that ideology down to like my generation. I don't even know like where to start to unravel.
Do you guys ever? I don't ever remember being a young kid in the 80s and in the 80s, primarily 80s,
Right.
and early 90s. I've never heard a woman at a young age say they don't need a man. Like
Nope.
in late teens and maybe the first part of the early 20s, if they haven't been with a man and got dumped or hurt by a man. I've never heard women that age say you don't need a man.
No, you know what? Like I said, I grew up around hyenas, but even they knew they needed a man. They kept a man. Like the 4 for 4s and 5 for 5s back in the day, they knew how to cook Sunday dinner, and they kept a man. They kept a step simping step daddy around. Here's the thing, and I said this one show. A man is more than just his money. Just a man's presence alone. Like, seriously, women, with all due respect, but women literally turn their brain off when they're around responsible men. I see it.
Yes.
Like, you out in public, and they just be so happy just looking around, doing their thing, and they don't be worried about the daggone thing. It's a task because you gotta, it's like hurting cats, but it's a beautiful thing to see. But these women never seen that. So any woman that says, "Oh, I don't need a man," they've never experienced that leadership of a man where you go out and your only job is to enjoy yourself because he's doing everything. He's doing his manly duties. You don't have to worry about nothing. So, and they say don't because they never experienced that, and they don't want to admit that.
I was gonna say from elementary school, I always liked boys. Not saying I was a fast kid, but like I've always like dreamed of being. No, but like I would always write in my notebook like Mrs. This or that. Like Valentine's Day come, boys are bringing me like baskets for like Valentine's Day and stuff. Even in like middle school and high school, like guys would come and pick me up and bring me on dates, like white boys too. But like ever since I was a little girl, I can remember I liked the idea of having a boyfriend. I don't know where it got lost in translation. HQ, to bounce off what you said, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss. Number 2,
Thank you.
I never met my biological father. I don't know what he looks like if I had a picture of him. Q and Mr. Walker could be my dad for all I know.
Oh, no, I mean, Mr. Walker, baby.
Whoa,
I'm just kidding.
Hold it up. See, I ain't that dad go. I'm 37, guys.
Y'all hit the like
But
button
no.
coming in the door. Hit the like button, please.
And then like my mom was just always in the most abusive relationships like ever. And I always saw her fighting. Like she always had to fight every man she ever had. One of them was like a child like predator, like she always had terrible men in her life and around us. So I think that kind of conditioned me and my sisters to like hate men too. I want to say that too. A lot of the women that had kids, they're just not responsible in picking a mate, it's just and it trickles down because I don't know, it's just depressing as hell.
Well, so here's my question, because I don't like people using hyperboles when they speak about not needing a man. I think women should separate when they physically versus emotionally. So if for your physical needs, if you don't need a man, you need to say I don't need a man physically, but I do need a man emotionally. If that's what they really want, because yes, we have some women who have money and who can provide for their temporal needs. But from a man's perspective, when I hear a woman don't need me, I encompass it all. I don't, you know, so I think it is the whole thing. So women will be better served to say, hey, I don't need a man to take care of me monetarily, but I do need it for everything else emotionally. But and be able to articulate that so that the man can understand, because you don't want to minimize him. And the worst, I think the worst thing we did, we changed too fast as human beings. 50 years is not that much time. I'll tell you that right now. And so it appeared, even with women with money, when we watched the Kendra show and we watched Gavin, Mr. Walker, analyze the women who go up on their show. The funny thing about it is that, yes, they can make money if we take their word for it, right? Air quotes. But they also still want man to provide that money, because that's the only way they see man is providing money. And so, and that puts them in a bad mind frame, because not they only see men as money still. They still don't address the emotional part of it enough. If you have money, why are you worried about him having money? Now, I will say that if you're young and you want to have kids, yeah, you got to take that into consideration, because we all know that you can get pregnant and the kid can come out any kind of way that requires the wife to maybe stay home. So I mean, and that's just life happens that way for some people. But if you only need man for the emotional part, you need to understand how to articulate to that man so he will be okay with it. But I'm telling you right now, as a man, if you tell me I don't need a man, I'm going to encompass in everything. You don't need me financially, you don't need me emotionally, so I'm not going to approach you.